but all that was inadequate. From Kakira, that became our only source. We were importing from Kakira. Then Kakira also set up their own ethanol plant. So therefore, we ran out of raw materials. So this plant here was closed because of lack of raw materials to produce ethanol. And then now we started to think out of the box. So we started to think out of the box, and that's how we came up with this idea of this project. But we also, said that plant is there. As you know, the town has now expanded this side. So a manufacturing plant, chemical manufacturing plant within the town here is no longer quite tenable. So this decision has been made that we relocate that plant. And in the process of the government now reorganizing the sugar industry, we will transfer that plant to one of the sugar mills, either Chemelil or Zoya, so that that plant can also continue to manufacture, or Yala Swamp. That's the reason why we decided that this project here is the most ideal for this region. And I negotiated with my brother, Shabal, and we agreed that we should go ahead with this project. It is a project whose time has come around this area. And we are talking about housing. Hinga has already told you how we talked about this affordable housing issue. I was Minister for Roads, Public Works, and Housing. I am the one who first went and introduced amendment to the Housing Act, which had been there from 1966 to the time I was made a minister, to come up with a housing policy that was responsive to the needs of the country at that time. Now, this issue of rural-urban migration is a permanent phenomenon. But this matter was never addressed properly by successive regimes from independence. You remember people after independence started to migrate from the rural areas into towns. The government of the day at that time decided to stop people from coming. Mzee said, Rudi mashambani. Even songs were coined. Mzee kasema rudi mashambani, hakuna kazi. People went back to land and found nothing useful to do, eventually came back to town. The colonial government was addressing this issue properly. You see most of these estates in our towns. Even in Kisumu here, you had Shorimoyo, you had Lumumba, you had Makasembo, and so on. That were built at that time. In Nairobi, you have so many of them. In Mombasa. Nothing happened after independence. So people came into towns and there was no housing. As a result, people started to put up structures, informal structures. And the government now christened them informal settlements. That's how we ended up with Kibra, we ended up with Madare, Mukuru, Wanjenga, and all those, the equivalent here in Kisumu, in Kakamega, in Mombasa, and so on and so forth. So I went to Malaysia and Singapore and saw what they had done to deal with this issue, because rural-urban migration is a permanent phenomenon. People will move from the rural areas to go to urban centers in search of employment. So you need to address it. And the way they're addressing it is a comprehensive policy, where